says in Vedanta, there are three main texts in Vedanta. One is Brahma Sutra, another one is Upanishad, third one is Gita.
Not audible.
Yeah. Now I have mute everyone. So I think you can listen me properly. Okay? Yeah. So in Vedanta, there are main three texts in Vedanta. One is Brahma Sutra, second one is Upanishad, and third one is Gita. Subject matter of all three texts are one and same. Subject matter is Vishaya, whatever we say. The subject matter of Upanishad, Gita, and even Brahma Sutra are only one, and that is, here is nothing but only Ishvara. The vision of Upanishad is, last vision of Upanishad is, everything is Ishvara. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. This is the vision of Upanishad. Sarvam khalu idam Brahman is also the vision of Upanishad. So people might thinking, then what is the subject matter of Gita? The same vision is also in Gita. And what is in Brahma Sutra? In Brahma Sutra is discussion of the subject matter which is given in Upanishad is discussed in Brahma Sutra. And in traditionally it says Prasthantrayi. There is one big name is given. Everybody used to ask, have you studied Prasthantrayi? Then somebody might thinking this is very big name, but it is nothing. This is combination of three: Brahma Sutra, Upanishad, and Gita. And even it says, if you study Gita, need not to study Upanishad and Brahma Sutra also, because everything is like a capsule form is given in Gita. So main text for people is called Gita, Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, even Upanishad, three main topics are discussed in even Upanishad. Same is discussed in Gita also. Then what are the three topics? We give a name: Karma Yoga, second one is Upasana Yoga, and last one is Jnana Yoga. In Veda, these three topics, not Upanishad, I am telling in Veda, three main topics are discussed in Veda: Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and last one is Jnana Yoga. And what we say, Upanishad is nothing but only Jnana Yoga. While in Gita, all three topics are discussed. So compared to Upanishad, it is more, we can study more in Gita. So because all three topics have been discussed. So it says 1 to 6 chapter is Karma Yoga. 7 to 12 is Upasana Yoga. And 13 to 18 is Jnana Yoga. And whenever we say yoga, the meaning of yoga, really speaking, is attitude. Attitude while doing karma, attitude while doing upasana means meditation, and attitude while learning a knowledge about ourselves. So when yoga, it's not Ashtanga yoga, it is not pranayama. But whenever yoga is discussed in Gita, the meaning of yoga is the attitude towards what we are doing. Either we are doing karma, or we are doing upasana or jnana. So this is the basic information of Upanishad and Gita. So in Veda is equal to Gita. In Veda also these three. In they say Purva Bhaga. Here Aranyak portion in Veda, if you have heard any time, is called Upasana. Aranyak portion in Veda is called Upasana. In Upanishad is called Jnana Yoga. So both are Gita as good as Upanishad. So if we learn Gita, need not to study Upanishad. And one more thing, before studying Gita, we used to study Dhyana Shloka. But Dhyana Shloka is not written by Veda Vyasa. This 9th shloka is written by Madhusudan Saraswati. Is not written by Veda Vyasa. And even all name, this is the first adhyaya is over, is also given by Madhusudan Saraswati. The name, suppose is a Arjuna Vishada Yoga, this name, topic is given by Madhusudan Saraswati, not by Veda Vyasa. So this is the basic information about Gita. So people might thinking Veda Vyasa has written everything. And interesting thing is, Brahma Sutra is also written by Veda Vyasa, and Gita is also written by Veda Vyasa. Upanishad is not written by anyone, because it's only sing all our mantras by our rishis. In Pujya Swamiji's Gita home study, you might have, there are many people, they are studying Gita home study. So I'm planning, I'm not going through Gita home study, because you all have Gita home study with you. So need not to discuss what Pujya Swamiji has discussed. We will try to understand. Other than, we will take Pujya Swamiji's reason also. But what Shankaracharyaji's Bhashyam is given, that we will discuss mainly. And we will take also Pujya Swamiji's. But main Bhashyam, not Pujya Swamiji's. Because everybody is, and we can refer Pujya Swamiji's home study, but we will not go by word to word of Pujya Swamiji, because it's very lengthy. That's why it is not good for us. There is a word Bhagavad Gita. Bhagwan's definition we will see, but Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavataha Gita. Now you know little bit Sanskrit also, no? Bhagavataha is a 6x1, is a 6 case. Bhagavataha Gita. It is a song of Bhagwan. Bhagavataha Geetam becomes Gita. Basically, it is a Geetam, neutral. Bhagavataha Geetam, 6x1. It is a song of Ishvara. That's why it is very near to us. Bhagavataha Geetam. Now, first we have already chanted Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayane Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवत् गीते भवद्वेषिणी. Main sentence is Amba Bhagavad Gita Tvam Anusandadami. Hey Amba is like a mother. We are calling our mother. Hey Amba is a, and same Bhagavad Gita. You are like my mother. Bhagavad Gita Tvam. You. We are meditating upon. We are invoking you. Anusandadami. When anu come, no, the meaning is after. So when we are going to approach Gita, before that we are invoking you. So hey Gita, oh mother, we are invoking you. So now this Gita is where it is taught by whom? Everything is given in first 3 lines. So basic is Amba Tvam Anusandadami. If somebody asks, Bhagavad Gita is taught by whom? So it is given Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam. So this Gita is taught by Pratibodhitam is a verb, but it is present past passive participle. But Gita means Gitam Bhagavata Narayanena Pratibodhitam. It is taught. Bhagavata is also 3 by 1. This is passive. 3 by 1. 3 by 1. Himself. So why we are giving too much importance to Bhagavad Gita? Because it is not taught by anyone else. The speciality of Bhagavad Gita is this is taught by Ishvara, Narayana Swayam. It is called one, Vyutpatti, etymology. Of each and every word has its own etymology. So there is a one word. Bhagavan will come, but Narayana. So in Narayana, there is a one word. It's called Nara, Naraha. The meaning of Naraha actually is Na plus Ra. And Ra is a one verb in Sanskritam, Nariyate, one who never get change. Nariyate, Nakshiyate. It's called Naraha. The definition of Nara is, we think this body is called Naraha. But definition in Gita or even in Sanskrit literature is given, one who never get changed is called Naraha. So Naraha is equal to who never gets changed. Naraha. Then we say what is connected to Naram is called Naram. So what is connected to Naraha is called Naram. Like we say what is connected to Janaka. Who is Janaki? So one who is connected to Janaka. Same way, what is connected to Naraha, it's called Naraha. So same meaning of Naraha is one who never gets changed. It's called Naraha, means Ishvara. Tasya Ayanam. The Ayanam means abode, residence. It's called Narayana. Ayanam. It's called Narayana. So whole word is nothing, but it is the abode of Naraha. It's Narayana. So who is Lord? Narayana. He himself is Bhagavan. Swayam. So Ishvara himself, Pratibodhitam, is taught. What taught? Bhagavad Gita is taught by Sakshat Ishvara. But to whom he has taught? So it's called Parthaya. Bhagavan has taught Gita to whom? So we say Parthaya. Same way, one who is connected to Prutha, it's called Partha. Prutha is Kunti's another name, Prutha. It's one who is connected to Prutha is called Partha. So Bhagavan himself has taught this Gita to Partha. Bhagavan has taught Gita, but who is media person? Who is the reporter? Who told us this Gita has been taught to Partha? Then it says, Vyasena Grathitam. This Gita is Grathitam, is compiled. Grathitam, really speaking, is compiled by whom? Vyasena. It is compiled by Vyasa, Veda Vyasa. Really speaking, Vyasa is verse will come, but Vyasa is only person who has developed all literature after Upanishada. Purana, all 18 Purana is written by Veda Vyasa. Mahabharat written by Veda Vyasa. So everything, then what afterward people have written, it's called Uchchista of Veda Vyasa. Even right now, what we are speaking is nothing. It says we are just Uchchista, you know. Sometimes we eat somebody's from plate, it's called Uchchista. So what we are speaking is nothing, but it is a Uchchista of Veda Vyasa. Even it says in literature of Veda, there are many rishis who has seen these Veda mantras in their meditation, and they will keep on telling to their students. So these rishis, it's called seers of mantras. Their students also keep on chanting this Veda mantra. But the name given to all 4 Veda is also Veda Vyasa. So if we say this is Sama Veda, Ruk Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda, this naming is also given by Veda Vyasa. Because he has collected all mantra, then he says, which can be sung. It's called Sama Veda. What is in prose form? This Gadya. It's called Yajur Veda, and which can be by meter we can chant, is called Rug Veda. And what is given, everything is medicinal, is called Atharva. So he has separated all mantras and given the name. So it's called Veda Vyasa, is only person who is the foundation of all our spiritual literature. That Veda Vyasa is compiled. What he is compiled? Bhagavad Gita, which taught by Ishvara to Partha. Then this is adjective of Veda Vyasa. Who is Veda Vyasa? He says Purana Munina. Same, whenever this Purana comes, no, in our mind it's ancient. Purana. So in our mind is always there, it is a ancient. But really speaking, the meaning of Purana is, even though it is Pura, means ancient, Pura api nitya nutanam. Even though it is ancient, it's always fresh, always new, is called Puranam. This is definition given by our Shankaracharya. Pura api nitya nutanam. If we say a word Satyam, is it Purana? It is ancient? We can't say it is ancient. Satyam is still same. It is meaningful for us. Even it was meaningful before 5,000 years. So Satyam word we can tell is a Puranam. Pura api nitya nutanam. Even though it is very old, very ancient, but still nitya, always, nutanam, new. So in English we can say ever fresh. So Veda Vyasa also ever fresh. So it is still, it is live, no? We say there are 7 rishis is still living. In one among them is Veda Vyasa. So Pura api nityam. So Veda Vyasa is Purana Munina. And even there is a Muni. Muni we can say it is sage. But really speaking, the definition of Muni is one who has a capacity contemplating. It's called Muni. Mananat Muni. The etymology of Muni is Mananat Muni. One who can contemplate for one topic for length of time. It's called Muni. So Mananat Muni. Mananam means contemplation. Mananat Munihi. So who is Veda Vyasa? He is a Purana Muni. He is, even though he is very ancient, but still he is ever fresh and he has capacity, contemplation. That Veda Vyasa has compiled this Bhagavad Gita, and this Bhagavad Gita is taught by Ishvara to Partha. But where it comes, where the Bhagavad Gita comes in Mahabharata, it says Madhye Mahabharatam. It is in between, totally between main portion, middle portion of Mahabharata. So it occurs in because in Mahabharata is 1,00,000 verses are in Mahabharata. So almost before 50,000, then this Gita has come. So it says Madhye Mahabharata. Now if somebody asks, what is the subject matter of Gita? So it says Advaitamrita Varshini. The main topic of Bhagavad Gita is Advaita Amrita Varshini. Advaita means non-duality. Advaita Amrita. One who understands Advaita, they know it. Advaita is nothing, but it is always Amrita. This is Moksha Swarupa. Advaita Amrutam. Ola Dirgha Sandhi Amruta. It is always showering, keep on showering. While studying Bhagavad Gita, what keep on showering? It says Advaita Amrutam. It is a showering of nectar. Amrutam. He says Amrut means nectar, but I used to say is a moksha. Because moksha is nothing, but one person knows I am nothing but non-dual, only one, is called Advaita. And that is called moksha. So translation is given in Swamiji is also nectar. But really speaking, it is not nectar, but it is moksha. Because one who knows oneself, it is nothing but moksha. So what is the showering by Gita? It says Advaita Amrutam. It always keep on showering in any chapter. If you can, we can pick up 2 to 3 verses in any chapter of Gita is showering of Advaita Amrutam. It's showering nothing. Bhagavatim. This Gita is nothing but it is Sakshat Bhagavati is Devi Bhagavati. And totally, how many chapters are available in Bhagavad Gita? It says Ashtadasha Dhyayini. Ashtadasha means 18. Adhyaya means chapter. Total, it is 18 chapters. That Bhagavati. And there is a one adjective of Gita, Bhavat-dveshini. One who opposes Bhava, Dveshini. The meaning of Bhava means Sansara. Bhavati Bhavati iti Bhava. We keep on coming. Bhava Bhava means may you become, may you become. So always in Pujya Swamiji's definition, the life is becoming. Means Bhava means become. If we ask anyone, this small child, if we ask what you would like to do, then he says, I want to become. I want to become. So life is nothing but becoming. But what is Gita? So it opposes Dveshini. When you study properly Gita, then we can come out from this Bhava. It's called Dveshini. Bhava Dveshini. Here that Dvesha, which is not hatred like, but Dveshini means one who opposes. Actually, Dvesha, the meaning of Dvesha is hatred. I hate you. But really speaking, in this verse, the meaning of Dvesha is, Dveshini, the Dvesha is one who opposes, totally opposes, opposition of Bhava. If you know Gita properly, there is a no Bhava. There is a, in Gita, Mirabai, no, there is a one Mohe, Lagi Lagan Guru Charanan ki. In this verse, Bhava Sagar Sab Sukha Gayo Hai, Fikar Nahi Mujhe Taranan ki. There is a one, at that time Pujya Swamiji explained why she says Bhava Sagar Sab Sukha Gayo Hai. So it's when Sagar comes, so it means one by one it dries up like that. But one who understands Advaita, for that person, no Bhava, no Sansara. The ignorance until when we don't know ourselves. When we know ourselves, there is a no Bhava, no Sansara. There is no Sansara, then what to talk about Dvesha? So it is totally opposite. The Gita is nothing, but it is totally opposite of our Sansara, Bhava. Life of Bhava, become. Is a Gita, I used to say, is a book of fulfillment, is a book of commitment. When we understand Gita, there is a no need to know something more about samsara. Everything is, we are fulfilled. It's called Bhava Dveshin. Krutakrutyata, there is a one word. The meaning of Krutakrutyata, after knowing something, we need not to know anything. We do not feel to know much about. That our mind dispositions is called Bhavadveshini. The disposition of mind, one person knows, I am not separate from Ishvara. That is called Bhavadveshini. We may be in Bhava. Right now we are in Sansara, but that Sansara won't touch us. It's called Bhavadveshini. In spite of, like Pujya Swamiji says, it's a walking without walking. Same way Bhavadveshini means, in spite of Bhava, we are not in Bhava. It's called Bhavadveshini. Gita teaches us how can we live in word without it affects us. That's why it's called Bhavadveshini. Beautiful. So, hey mother, we are invoking you. This is also hey Gita invoking you, who you are the opposite of Sansara. That Gita is taught by Ishvara, one who is Narayana himself, one who is become everything. Narayana means Narasya idam jagat, who is become everything. That Gita is compiled by Veda Vyasa, one who is Purana Munina. In spite of ancient, he is always fresh, and he has given this Gita Madhye Mahabharatam, in Mahabharata. And the topic, the subject matter of Gita is Advaita Amrutam. It is a moksha is always showering, like in Gita, Advaita Amrutam Varshini, Ashtadashadhyayini. Total chapters available in Gita is 18. And by learning this Gita, not by learning, by assimilating this Gita becomes Bhavadreshini. It helps. We can, in spite of living in samsara, we can away from samsara. Asanga shastrena dradena chitva. How can we live? That teaches by Gita that Amba aham anusandadhami. We are invoking you. This is the meaning of first verse of Bhagavad Gita. Then second verse is about Veda Vyasa. But this we will see next Saturday. If any question you want to ask, you can ask. Anybody would to like it? Ask anything.
Can you repeat, Aminiji, can you repeat that? Asanga Shastrena Dradena Chitwa, right?
Yeah. 15th chapter of Gita.
Yeah.
Asanga Shastra Dradena Chitva. Puja Swamiji used to say Masanga Shastra. One person comes to Puja Swamiji, he say, what is Masanga Shastra? Swamiji said, there is no any weapon like Masanga. Then he says it's given in Gita, chapter Masanga. Then he says it's not Masanga, Asanga Shastra. In spite of everything, we are all Asanga Shastra. So any doubt, any question regarding first verse of Gita Dhyana Shloka? Everything is clear?
Well, I just want to say how beautiful and how beautiful is connect one with another thing. I appreciate very much the explanation because it's really deep. It's really profound and makes clear how in one verse there's so much wisdom. So thank you very much.
If we study more, we can. There is a more. it's just starting, beginning.
Yeah.
Shall we go Purnamada?
Om
Namidam
Purnasya Purnamadaaya Purnamevavashishyate.
Om Namaha
Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.